Are you tired of manifestation techniques that just aren't delivering the consistent abundance you desire? It's not about working harder. It's about realizing a foundational truth. Joel Goldsmith's revolutionary IAM principles show you how to shift from a mindset of lack to an embodied recognition of your divine, abundant reality, transforming your life from the inside out. Now, Joel, he wouldn't start by calling you seekers or students. Nah, he'd look out real quiet and he'd say, friends, or maybe fellow travelers. He made it personal right out the gate. He was talking to you, right where you're at, in the middle of your messy, beautiful, complicated life. So, friends, let's cut to the chase. We're all walking around shouting our shopping lists at the universe, more money, a better job, the perfect relationship, and then we're pissed when the delivery gets messed up. We're manifesting from the outside in, and it's a total grind. But Goldsmith flipped the script. He said, stop begging at the door. You are the door. The whole factory is inside you. This I am, he talked about. That ain't just your name. That's the God code. The infinite Wi-Fi signal of pure abundance already baked into your soul. Living the I am means you stop running after life and you let life flow from you. You ain't a human trying to get a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being kicking it in a human suit, and it's time to start acting like it. We're going to break down how to tap into that pipeline so clean that health, harmony, and yes, cold, hard cash aren't things you chase, but things that chase you. Because once you get this, you're not just changing your reality, you're becoming the reality. Curious how to actually flip that switch inside you and stop the struggle for good. If this hit different, smash that like button, drop a 444 in the comments if you're ready for that rock-solid foundation, and subscribe, because next time, we're going deeper into the silence where all this power gets downloaded. Let's get it. Indeed, the very core of Goldsmith's message, the one that changes everything, is understanding that the I am is your divine factory. This isn't a metaphor to make us feel better. This is the operational truth of our being. Most of us, we're living at the mercy of the world outside. We see ourselves as this little self, this personality with a resume and a bank account and a list of problems, standing on a dusty road, looking at a big, imposing factory way off in the distance. That factory has a sign that says abundance, or peace, or health, and we're over here waving our arms, trying to get its attention, hoping it'll throw some of its products out the window to us. We negotiate, we plead, we use affirmations like secret passwords we hope the foreman will hear. That's the life of lack. That's the grind. But Joel comes along and says, my friend, you have gravely misjudged the situation. You are not outside the factory. You are the factory. The entire operation, the source, the power, the production line, the infinite inventory is within the consciousness that you are. That I am that you feel when you say, I am here, before you attach any other word to it, that is not just a statement of location. That's the signature of the divine in you. That is the factory whistle. That is the hum of the machinery. Everything you could ever need or desire isn't a product to be shipped in from somewhere else. It is already being manufactured now, in this instant, within your own spiritual essence. Your health, your intelligence, your supply, your harmony, these aren't external conditions to be acquired. They are the natural outputs, the finished goods of the I am functioning properly. So when you say, I am poor, or I am sick, or I am lonely, you are doing something catastrophic. You are not making a statement about your circumstances. You are giving a command to the factory. You are reprogramming the entire production line with a blueprint for lack. You are telling this infinite, divine powerhouse to produce poverty, to manufacture sickness, to output loneliness. And it obeys, it has to, because it only knows one thing, to produce the reality of the I that you are being. The problem was never that the factory was closed. The problem is we've been standing at the control panel, or blindfolded, hitting the wrong buttons, and then blaming the universe for the bad stuff coming down the conveyor belt. Living the AM means taking off the blindfold. It means turning away from the picture the outer world shows you and turning inward to the truth of your being. It means going into the silence, into that space before thought, and just being the I am, not I am this or I am that. Just I am. In that recognition, you are not praying to God. You are abiding as the God being, the Christ self, the divine factory in full and perfect operation. From that anchored place, you don't visualize a new car. You realize that the creative principle that designs and manifests all form is alive within you, and its nature is infinite expression. You don't beg for healing. You acknowledge the perpetual, self-renewing life that you are, which knows no sickness or decay. The moment your sense of identity shifts from the outer, limited personality to the inner, unlimited I am, the entire game changes. The supply isn't coming, it is already present, being generated from within, and it will take form in your experience as naturally as light pours from a lit lamp. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we move from theory to the raw, but practical power of this work. It's the ultimate shift. You stop begging and you start being. All of our suffering, our sense of lack and limitation, comes from that posture of begging. We are spiritual mendicants, holding out our tin cups to a universe we perceive as separate from us, hoping for a few coins of good fortune. We pray from a place of need, we affirm from a place of absence, we hustle from a place of fear. Every action taken from that space, no matter how spiritual it looks, is just a more sophisticated form of pleading. It reinforces the story that what we need is out there, held by a capricious source that we must somehow appease or convince. Goldsmith's radical instruction is to drop the cup. Stop the spiritual panhandling. The moment you catch yourself in that stance of supplication, whether you're begging a higher power, the stock market, a potential partner, or your own future, you have already stepped out of the truth of the I am. You have left the factory and are now standing in the alley behind it, looking for scraps. The work is not to beg better, with more fervent or fancier words. The work is to cease begging entirely, to close your eyes to the barren landscape your senses report, and to turn within to the already complete fullness of your being. You don't beg for peace, you be the peace that passes understanding, right in the middle of the chaos. You don't beg for supply, you be the infinite, creative source of all form and substance. You don't beg for love, you be the unconditional love that has no opposite. This being is not passive, it is the most active state in the universe. It is an act of profound spiritual authority and recognition. It means you take your stand, mentally and consciously, not in the problem, but in the solution, which is the very presence of God as your own life. When a challenge arises, the old habit of the beggar mind is to immediately cry out, "How will I fix this? Where will the money come from? Who will help me?" The practitioner of the AM pauses. He doesn't deny the appearance, but he refuses to let it define his I. He turns within and acknowledges, the infinite intelligence that is my very consciousness already knows the answer and is manifesting the perfect resolution. The boundless substance of the universe is my substance, and it is now taking appropriate form. He doesn't say this to change God's mind. He says it to change his own awareness to the mind of God. This is the end of duality. The beggar exists in a world of separation. Here I am, poor and empty. There you are, rich and full. But in the consciousness of his being, that separation evaporates. There is only the one functioning, expressing, fulfilling itself as you. Your job is not to create anything new. Your job is to be the conduit through which the divine activity flows without hindrance. You become a transparency. You let go of the frantic mental gymnastics of trying to arrange the outer world, and you focus solely on maintaining that inner state of conscious union, of being the fulfilled Christ. From that centered quiet beingness, right action arises spontaneously, ideas flow, synchronicities unfold. People are drawn. Circumstances rearrange themselves not because you forced them, but because your very state of being is a magnetic force, reorganizing the universe around its own harmony. The beggar is at the effect of the world. The one who is, who knows himself as the I am, places the cause within his own being and watches the world gracefully, inevitably conform to that truth. This understanding fundamentally redefines our relationship with the good we seek. When you truly transition from begging to being, a profound realization dawns. Abundance isn't chased, it's anchored. Our entire culture is built on the chase. We chase the promotion, chase the partner, chase the next dollar, the next hit of happiness, as if abundance is a fleeting prey we must capture and cage. This chase is born from the belief that what we want is in front of us, ahead of us, just beyond our grasp. It perpetuates a state of perpetual becoming, a future tense life where satisfaction is always one more step away. It's exhausting, and it's a complete illusion within the framework of the I am. To anchor something means to secure it from a position of stability. You drop the anchor from the ship itself into the bedrock below. The ship is no longer adrift, tossed by every wave of circumstance. It is held firm by a connection to something immovable. This is the precise shift in consciousness Goldsmith guides us toward. Your abundance, your health, wisdom, supply, joy cannot be found in the chase because it is not external to you. It is a quality of your own divine nature. Therefore, the work is not to run after it, but to go within and anchor your awareness in the truth of its omnipresence within you. You are not seeking a treasure on a distant island. You are realizing the treasure chest is the very ground upon which you stand. The anchor is your conscious recognition, your unwavering knowing that the I am is inherently abundant. It is the substance of all form. It is the intelligence behind all solution. It is the life that knows no decline. When your consciousness is anchored here in this rock-solid inner truth, the outer world has no choice but to reflect that anchorage. This is where the magic, or rather the divine science, unfolds. You are no longer a leaf blown about by the winds of the stock market, others' opinions, or physical symptoms. You have dropped your anchor into the bedrock of spiritual reality. From this place, you engage with the world from a position of impregnable strength and serenity. You might still take actions, you'll go to work, have conversations, manage your affairs, but these actions are no longer the frantic motions of the chase. They are the natural, often inspired, movements of the spirit expressing itself from a point of settled fullness. You work not from hunger, but from overflow. This anchorage dissolves anxiety about the future. If abundance is a condition, out there, that you must chase and secure, then the future is a threat, a place where you might fail to catch it. But if abundance is an anchored truth within your present consciousness, then the future is merely the unfolding, the ripening of that already established truth. You don't pray for future supply, you give thanks for the infinite substance anchored within your I am. Now, knowing its manifestation in form is inevitable and perfectly timed. You aren't hoping to become healthy later, you anchor in the truth of the incorruptible, spiritual life you are now, and allow that harmony to permeate your experience. This is the great stillness at the heart of demonstration. It's not a stillness of inaction, but a stillness of being, an unshakable knowing that what you are is complete, and therefore what you need is already present in essence, making its way to the surface of your life. The chase is a declaration of lack. The anchor is a declaration of dominion. It is the deep inner yes that silences all the outer world's screams of no. You stop looking for signs in the world that you are supported, and you become the very source of that support, anchored so deeply in the divine that nothing in the world of appearance can ever shake your knowing. Now, this anchoring we're talking about requires the ultimate mental and spiritual turnaround. It demands that we completely flip the script on how we've been taught to operate in this world. For our entire lives, we've been programmed for the outside in approach. It's the default setting of the human condition. We look at the external conditions, our bank balance, our medical diagnosis, the mood of our boss or our partner, and we allow that data to dictate our internal state. A low number in an account makes us feel insecure and small. A troubling symptom fills us with fear. A harsh word sends us into a spiral of anger or self-doubt. Our inner world becomes a mere reactor, a passive echo chamber for whatever is happening to us. We believe the outer effect is the cause of our inner experience. This is living life backwards, and it's the root of all powerlessness. Flipping the script means transitioning with conscious and relentless discipline, from outside into inside out. This is the core of Goldsmith's practice. It means you stop letting the appearance be the author of your reality, and you allow the truth of your I am to be the sole author. You begin not by reacting to the world, but by consciously acting from the spiritual truth within. This is not positive thinking. This is principled thinking. You are not ignoring the appearance. You are choosing to grant it no authority, no causative power over your state of being. When a challenge looms large in front of you, the outside in reflex is to panic, contract, and start problem solving from a place of fear and limitation. The inside-out practitioner does the opposite. He consciously withdraws his attention, his faith, and his identity from the problem out there. He turns his gaze inward to the silence, to the I am. He dwells there, not to escape, but to realign. In that inner communion, he re-establishes the facts of spiritual reality, that infinite intelligence is his intelligence, and it already knows the way. That infinite substance is his substance, and it is already forming the answer. That harmonious life is his life, untouched by discord. He lets this inner truth marinate. He lets it become more real to him than the screaming evidence of the senses. He flips the script by making the inner cause primary and the outer effects secondary. Then and only then does he move. But his movement is different now. It's no longer a desperate reaction to an outer pressure. It is the spontaneous, intelligent expression of the inner truth flowing outward. An idea comes, clear, calm, and often surprisingly simple. He follows that. A person comes to mind. He reaches out. An action presents itself as obvious. He takes it. This is inside-out living. The power, the initiative, the causative force always resides within your consciousness, and you let it express outward into form and experience. This flip changes everything about your energy. Instead of being a pinball battered by the bumpers and flippers of circumstance, you become the player. The table, the ball, the very game are all within the field of your consciousness. You operate from a calm center of cause, not a frantic periphery of effect. You no longer ask the world, "What will you do to me today?" You silently declare from within, "This is what I am expressing through you today." The outside in life is a life of pleading and reacting. The inside-out life is a life of conscious creation and calm command. It's the difference between standing in a storm, begging the wind to stop, and realizing you are in the eye of the hurricane, a place of perfect peace from which the entire storm is organized and from which you can, from that stillness, or direct its eventual dissolution. The script is flipped when your inner truth becomes the only prompt you need, and the outer world transforms from your master into your mirror, faithfully reflecting the new story you are telling from the depths of your soul. This inside-out orientation reveals the most liberating truth of all, one that rewires our entire sense of identity and purpose. It brings us to a place of profound self-recognition. You're a spiritual being in a human suit. We have it backwards, you see. We walk through this life convinced we are humans, fragile, temporary, flawed creatures who occasionally, if we're lucky or pious enough, stumble upon a fleeting spiritual experience. We think the spiritual is a department of the human, a weekend hobby for the soul. Goldsmith shatters that limited perspective. The truth is the absolute reverse. Your fundamental, eternal, and absolute identity is spiritual. You are a conscious point of God awareness, an individualized expression of the infinite. I am. And for this grand adventure you have voluntarily and temporarily clothed yourself in a human experience. The human suit, with its senses, its emotions, its history, its appetites, is not who you are. It is the interface, the spacesuit, the vehicle you are operating within a specific realm of experience. Mistaking the suit for the self is the source of every single problem. It's why we fear the suit aging. It's why we scramble to decorate the suit with accolades and possessions, thinking they adorn us. It's why we let the suit's chemical reactions, anger, lust, jealousy, despair, dictate our actions and call it being human. We are like astronauts who have forgotten they are astronauts and have become utterly identified with the dials, the lights, and the occasional malfunctions of the spacesuit, terrified of the void outside because we think the suit is all there is. Living the I am is the process of remembering you are the astronaut. The suit is a magnificent, complex tool, but you are the conscious operator within it. Your needs, therefore, are not the suit's needs for more comfort, more validation, or more safety. Your need as a spiritual being is to express, to know, to create, to love, to be the divine activity right here in the midst of the human scene. When this shift in identity clicks, the weight of the world lifts. The human drama, with all its stakes and struggles, doesn't disappear, but it is contextualized. It is no longer the main event, it is the playing field. You stop taking its traumas so personally, because they are happening to the suit, not to the inviolable, immortal being you are. This isn't a cold detachment, it's a empowered mastery. You care for the suit because it's your vehicle for expression. You feed it well, you rest it, you listen to its signals, but you no longer worship it or tremble at its inevitable wear and tear. More importantly, you stop sourcing your sense of self, your worth, your peace, or your supply from the suit's condition or from the other suits around you. You source it from within, from the inexhaustible well of your spiritual being. This changes every interaction. You no longer see just other human suits. You develop the vision to perceive, or at least intuit, the spiritual being operating within them, even when their suit is behaving badly. Your conflicts transform. They are no longer battles between fragile egos, but opportunities for the spiritual being within you to bring harmony, forgiveness, and clarity to a human-level misunderstanding. Your work ceases to be merely a way to maintain the suit and becomes a channel for the creativity and intelligence of your true being to flow into the world. The pressure to fix your human life by endlessly adjusting the suit's circumstances evaporates. The real work is always internal, to deepen your conscious awareness of the being you are, to polish the connection between the operator and the instrument. From that place of centered spiritual identity, the human experience stops being a problem to be solved and starts becoming a joyful, curious, and often miraculous expression of the infinite playing in the finite. You navigate the human scene not as its prisoner, but as its curious, compassionate, creative visitor, knowing the real you can never be damaged, diminished, or defined by anything that happens here. So, how do we, as spiritual beings in this human experience, actually maintain this connection? How do we consistently flip the script and anchor in our true nature when the noise of the world is so loud? Goldsmith gives us not a complicated technique, but a profound and simple direction. The silence is your download zone. This is the operational secret, the practical engine room of the entire I am life. We must understand that this silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is not a blank void or a state of mental numbness. It is a living, vibrant, or intelligent presence. It is the very substance of the I am itself before it takes form as thought, word, or thing. It is the creative womb where all possibilities exist in their unmanifested perfection. To enter the silence is to step out of the bustling marketplace of human thought, with its worries, its plans, its memories, and its endless commentary, and to step into the inner sanctum where you are not a thinker, but pure awareness. This is where the real transmission happens. Think of your conscious. Thinking mind as a busy smartphone, constantly pinging with notifications from the outer world, emails of anxiety, text messages from memory, social media feeds of future fears. It's draining the battery and the signal is cluttered with static. Entering the silence is the act of putting that phone on airplane mode. You are not destroying the phone, you are simply, deliberately, shutting down all its outgoing and incoming chatter to connect to a different, far more powerful network, the infinite Wi-Fi of the spirit. In this quiet, all the striving, the begging, the mental effort ceases. You are not there to demand, visualize, or even request. You are there to receive. You are there to listen. This is the download zone. From this place of surrendered, attentive quiet, the spiritual truths you've been contemplating, your oneness, your abundance, your health, cease to be intellectual concepts you are trying to believe. They become living impressions, direct infusions of knowing, stamped upon your consciousness from the inside out. It is a knowing that bypasses the brain and registers in the soul. This is where the flip becomes permanent. You don't emerge from the silence repeating affirmations with more fervor. You emerge carrying a quiet, unshakable conviction that wasn't there before. A specific, tailor-made insight for a problem may float to the surface. A deep, wordless sense of peace may settle upon you, making the previous anxiety seem absurd. A feeling of boundless love with no object may fill you, rewriting your understanding of relationships. This is the divine intelligence updating your internal software, syncing your human consciousness with its spiritual source. The guidance you receive here is never for manipulation of the outer world, but for the alignment of your own being. It will direct you to forgiveness where you held resentment, to rest where you were forcing action, to a simple next step where you saw an impassable mountain. The silence is not where you go to get things. It is where you go to become the embodiment of the thing, so that it may then flow forth from you naturally. We're making this a practice, this daily, deliberate retreat into the download zone, is what moves this from a philosophy to a lived reality. It is the non-action that powers all right action. In the beginning, the human mind, the ego, will rebel. It will call it a waste of time. It will flood you with distractions. It will insist on being the problem solver. But you persist, not as a struggler, but as a patient operator returning to the control room. You sit, you turn inward, you release the train of thought, and you simply abide. You consent to the presence of the infinite within, and in that consent, the most profound work is done. The anchor is set deeper. The script is flipped anew. The spiritual being reaffirms its mastery over the human suit. From this daily download, you walk back into the world, not carrying a new set of burdensome instructions, but radiating a renewed frequency that of its own accord begins to reorganize the atoms of your experience, attracting, arranging, and manifesting the form that matches the peace, power, and plenty you have contacted in the quiet.